Here we are. The 2026 NBA season is here. Tip-off is next week. And you know what we have to do today? We have to predict the 2026 season. We're going to predict every single conference standing. We're going to predict every single playoff matchup today, every single award from All-NBA First Team, Defensive Player of the Year, All-Rookie Second Team. We're going to do it all. And even at the end of this video, it's a yearly tradition. I'll give you 5 players that I think will be traded this year and 5 head coaches that I think could be let go. And then in a year from now, or at the end of the year, we're going to react to this video. See how I do. Let's see if this video can get 2,000 likes though. Drop a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy this stuff. So we are going to start off with my Eastern Conference predictions. We're going to go from 15 to 1. Coming in at number 15, I have the Brooklyn Nets. Now, no surprise here that I have the Nets here at 15. They traded away Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. this offseason. They got a future first-round pick. They have 5 first-round picks playing for them in this upcoming NBA season. All of them have shown flashes in preseason so far. Ben SROS and Danny Wolf have been impressive passers. Drake Powell on the defensive end. I'm really excited about Yegor Doman this year, and Nolan Traore has a ton of potential as well. We're going to be keeping an eye on Cam Thomas this year. He does have a de facto no trade clause given that he signed the qualifying offer with Brooklyn this offseason, but this is going to be his last year as a Brooklyn Net most likely. Would they trade away a Michael Porter Jr. if that was available? Would they trade away a Hayward Highsmith or a Nick Claxton this year? Those are definitely some possibilities. The Nets do not own their first round pick directly in 2027, so this is their last year to quote unquote tank. Jordy Fernandez won them too many games last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I do think the Nets are going to finish dead last in the Eastern Conference. Coming in at number 14, another team that has an incentive to tank this year, the Washington Wizards. They have an influx of young talent from this offseason. They have 2 first-round picks, Trey Johnson and Will Riley, into the fold. They traded for 2 recent first-round picks, Dylan Jones from the Thunder and Cam Whitmore from the Rockets this offseason. The Wizards pick is top 8 protected this year, and if they go outside the top 8, they have to give it to the New York Knicks. So we know they want to be a bottom 8 team this year, and that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs with this team. I do not love their big man rotation after Alex Sarr. I think a lot of these young guys can play hero ball at times as well. There's going to be some really fun games and encouraging games for the future of this roster. There's going to be a lot of bad games where the shots aren't falling. Their defense is going to be non-existent, and they're probably going to lose a couple games by 40 plus this year. But yeah, vibes should be behind Washington after this year. Hopefully this is the last year of the rebuild with them being at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Coming in at number 13, I have the Chicago Bulls, a team that I do expect to be somewhat of sellers this season. Hopefully they're all the way in on Matas Buzelis, maybe being the franchise cornerstone of this roster until they maybe get a top pick in the 26th draft. They brought back Josh Giddey as a main initiator for this team. Hopefully they find a trade partner for Nikola Vucevic. If not, he's going to get bought out after the trade deadline. There's a chance Kobe White or Adesunmu could get traded this year. Can Patrick Williams rebound his value? Even at full strength, and if they keep everybody involved, I still don't expect this team to be competitive in the Eastern Conference, and I expect them to get worse this year because hopefully they're going to be sellers at the deadline. I do think this is finally the year they're not in the play-in tournament and they actually get a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. One spot ahead of the Bulls at number 12, I do have the Charlotte Hornets. This team's going to score a lot of points this year, but man, are they going to give up a lot of points. Now, what I've been watching in preseason with Charlotte, I like Moussa Diabate on the more athletic centers that like to go out on the perimeter, because Diabate a lot more athletic than Ryan Kalkbrenner, but I do like Kalkbrenner on more traditional bigs that like to be post bigs and score around the rim, because Kalkbrenner I just think is a better rim protector right now than Diabate, but he's not as athletic and quick as Diabate. And this team also is going to have to figure out what's the core pieces going forward. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller at the top, Kanipo, who they just drafted 4th overall. But what is Tidjane Salaün going to look like in year number 2? I feel like this is Salaun's real rookie year, and last year he was just playing like a fish out of water. They bring in Colin Sexton, who could be a trade candidate this year at the deadline. Same thing with Spencer Dinwiddie, Miles Bridges, Josh Green, and Grant Williams. And I'm excited Trey Mann is healthy again. We basically got Allen Iverson 2.0. I think the Hornets are going to be fun this year. Hopefully they could stay healthy. They do have a higher ceiling, in my opinion, than Chicago, Washington, and Brooklyn, but I don't think they're going to make the play-in. Coming in at number 11, I have the Indiana Pacers. We know for sure that Tyrese Haliburton is not going to be playing this year, and TJ McConnell is going to miss the first month of the year as well. So are they going to ask for guys like Cam Jones to step up, Ben Shepherd, 2nd round pick Talion Peter? Maybe, because it is going to be a increase in workload for Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, and Benedict Mathurin on the perimeter. Will those guys take steps going forward? How is this Pacers team going to look without Miles Turner? They have Jay Huff down there. They have Tony Bradley, James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson. I think they'll have some formidable big man depth this year, definitely better than than somebody like Charlotte or Washington, but I just don't know in the clutch if teams are able to lock down Pascal Siakam. Can Benedict Mathurin take a leap? Can Andrew Nembhard take a leap? I think those are some big question marks, and this team also owns their first round pick this year. I think they're okay with this being a retool gap year, get a top 10 pick, and then go all in on 2027 with Tyrese Haliburton returning. I just like to see a breakout year from Jarris Walker as well, somebody that I don't think has lived up to expectations from that 2023 draft class. So coming in at number 10, my first playing tournament team, the Boston Celtics. Now, Boston is so tough to predict because is Jason Tatum returning this year? He wants to return. He's been showing workout videos, but we have never seen somebody return in the same year from an Achilles injury. He suffered it in round 2 last year against the New York Knicks. Modern medicine is getting better by the day. Maybe Tatum does return. I'm just going to bake into my prediction Tatum does not return, or he's playing like 15 regular season games. And I do think there is a chance that Boston could part ways with Anthony Simons at the trade deadline. Maybe Derek White if there is a premier offer on the table. And I like Jaylen Brown as a number 1. I think he's going to be good. I like Peyton Pritchard with an increase in workload. They're definitely going to feel the loss of Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis in the front court. We'll see if Luka Garza can step up. I like what I've seen out of Josh Minot in preseason. But if Jaylen Brown does get injured or somebody at the top of the scoring pecking order, I do think Boston will be a bottom 10 offensive team when that player is out. If Tatum does end up playing 20 plus games, maybe they are a top 6 seed. I'm just not baking that into my prediction right now. Maybe I'll look like a fool when I react to this a year later. Coming in at number 9, the biggest wild card every year, the Philadelphia 76ers. They recently had an open scrimmage and we got to see Joel Embiid look skinny and healthy out there, and I hope we get 50 plus games of Joel Embiid this year. It's always a big if though. Same thing with Paul George in that front court. Jared McCain is going to miss a few weeks. VJ Edgecombe is currently nursing a hip injury. I wonder if these guys will be healthy throughout the course of the season. And Quentin Grimes accepted the qualifying offer. He has a no trade clause this year. Will Philadelphia trade him this year at the deadline, given the relationship might be a little bit banged up from talks this offseason? But they'll go as far as Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid can take them. I think they have great guard depth. Worry about the front court depth a little bit. I love a Dembona, but is he ready for an increase in workload? Maybe some starts if Joel Embiid does not play back-to-backs, which is very likely. How it's Trendon Watford, Justin Edwards gonna look in that front court as well, and Kelly Oubre with Paul George maybe not reliable every single night. There's just a lot of big ifs for Philadelphia this year. I think they'll be competitive. I think they'll be in the playing tournament spot. Their pick is top 4 protected. I don't think they're gonna bottom out like that. Have them here at number 9. So here at number 8, I have the Toronto Raptors. So I'll say, yeah, I do think they're going to be the 8th seed during round number 1. Toronto, I think, has a higher floor than some of these teams. They have depth, and I do think they have quality starters this year. I do worry about the fit offensively with Ingram, Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Jakob Poeltl all out there at the same time. Will Emmanuel quickly maybe adjust his role this year as an off-ball shooter, maybe somebody that could be a secondary ball handler rather than a primary ball handler. But I do think this team will be good defensively this year. I do think they have flexibility to make a trade if they wanted to. And I low-key think Darko Rajakovic is coaching for his job this year. I do think Toronto ends up making the playoffs out of the play-in. Coming in at number 7, I have the Miami Heat. I don't think I could really put the Heat much higher than this. I do think they're going to end up in the play-in tournament in some way, shape, or form. Hero's going to miss the first few weeks of the year. Now, you may know by the time this video comes out, but Hero has not gotten extended yet. I do wonder if that's going to happen this season, because Hero can be a free agent in the 2027 offseason. The Heat like to get these deals done a little bit early now that he's extension eligible. I love them picking up Norman Powell. I'm excited about Andrew Wiggins this year as well. Kel'el Ware has been killing it in preseason so far, and I'm a big fan of Kasparas Jakučionis. You know that if you were following my draft content. And Eric Spoelstra is just going to get the most out of this group as well. They do own their first round pick. It's a weaker Eastern Conference. I think Bam's going to have a bounce back first half this year because he really struggled out of the gate last year. I think the Heat are going to be right around 500, maybe a little bit better. I just trust what they built over the last few years and the certainty around this core than what Toronto has, Philly, Boston, and Indiana. I do think they're all in the same tier though. So coming in at number 6, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to finish outside the play-in tournament this year unless they do trade Giannis, which is going to be the main storyline for Milwaukee this season. If they start off to like an 8-12 start this year, they're going to be very, very nervous about the future of Giannis in Milwaukee. We know he could be a free agent in 2027. He can sign an extension in October of 2026. And this team is still solid around Giannis. It's definitely not the Bucks' best roster since Giannis has been here. I like them picking up Gary Harris and Cole Anthony. I'm really excited about Ryan Rollins this year and Miles Turner in Milwaukee. They do have some flexibility to make a trade, and they may be aggressive at the deadline to keep Giannis happy, try to make it to the conference finals. They'll go as far as Giannis can take them. So coming in at number 5, I have the Atlanta Hawks, which may be shocking to some people. They've been exciting in preseason, even with Trae Young being inefficient. And usually to start off the years, Trae Young is not efficient in the first few games. But I'm just so excited about the young trio of wings of Johnson, Daniels, and Reese Sachet that they have right now. Kristaps comes in. If he could be healthy, this pick and pop between Trae Young and Porzingis can be lethal. I like Asa Newell as a lob threat for this team, Nickeil Alexander-Walker as a stopper and point of attack defender for Atlanta, just giving them more depth over there, and bringing in Luke Kennard as a backup point guard option. They have flexibility to make a trade as well. They have that unprotected Bucks, Pelicans pick swap to use. Who knows? Maybe Giannis is a Hawk in a year from now. I do think the Hawks are going to be competitive this year. They could definitely make it to the conference finals, and it's their best team since 2021. Have them as the 5 seed. But you know what? I'm going to respect the Detroit Pistons, who were the 6 seed in the East last year. I have them as the 4 seed this year. I think Cade Cunningham is going to get some serious consideration for MVP this year. He's one of the best point guards in the league already, going into year number 5. And who knows? Maybe he could flirt with the scoring title this year. I also think the Pistons have some flexibility around the trade deadline. Will they extend Jaden Ivey this year, or is it going to be a trade deadline piece? Could we see an Asar Thompson breakout, which a lot of people are predicting? Could we see a Ron Holland breakout as well? One of my favorite players from the 2024 draft class. Tobias Harris is a good stretch for this team. They may not bring back Malik Beasley. We still don't know what's going on there, but they bring in Duncan Robinson as a shooter, Karis LeVert as a secondary ball handler, and I like what I saw from Jalen Duren in the second half last year. I do think this team also has a high floor. They can go as far as Cade can take them. I like them as the 4 seed. So coming in at the 3 seed, I have the New York Knicks. This may be shocking to some people. Last year, I had them as the 1 seed, and they ended up as the 3 seed. So I have them as the same seed this year as I did last year. Now, when we get to my playoff predictions, I may like the Knicks more than some teams ahead of them, but I do think throughout the regular season, they're maybe not going to be a top 2 seed. I think they're going to experiment a ton this year with lineup rotations, with the new head coach Mike Brown, a deeper bench to get involved. And last year, they had some good injury luck as well. Only Brunson missed a decent amount of time with that starting lineup. But now they have Mitchell Robinson back healthy to start off the year. I'm excited to see Hart maybe come off the bench. We'll see if McBride starts or Mitchell Robinson as well. I do think the Knicks have a higher ceiling when we get to the playoffs than maybe the 2 teams ahead of them. But throughout the regular season, I do think they're going to finish outside the top 2. Because at number 2, I really wanted to put them number 1, and maybe I should have when we look at this at the end of the year. I had the Orlando Magic. I just think this team is built for the regular season. Last year, they had some of the worst injury luck in the league to Suggs, Franz, the big man, and Paolo Banchero. They're fully healthy to start off this year. For the most part, they'll eventually be fully healthy with Mo Wagner back into the mix. Hopefully a bounce back year from Wendell Carter Jr. They got Goga Badate down low, who had a strong Eurobasket for Team Georgia. And I just think we have a Paolo and Franz leap incoming. Last year, Franz was still a complete player when he's healthy outside of the 3-point shot. I just need Franz to shoot 31% from 3, and he can be an all-star this season. I think Paolo Banchero can make an all-NBA team, and it's not one of the 3rd teams. And I'm just so excited about Jalen Suggs back healthy and Desmond Bane in that backcourt, one of the best 3-point shooters who I think is going to fit like a glove in Orlando. You got Jason Richardson in the mix, Tyus Jones as well. I think Orlando, like I said, is built for the regular season. Got them as the 2 seed. And I don't know how I love about a repeat 1 seed, but I have it here in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers still as my 1 seed. I worry about their bench unit a little bit, with Garland maybe banged up to start the year, Max Strus as well. This team may not look as good out of the gate as they did last year, where they were basically like undefeated through the first 3 weeks. But this is still a very good team. I do think they have a higher floor than a team like Orlando or New York this year. Maybe they don't finish number 1, 2 or 3 is very likely. So I think they're going to finish though number 1 with Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, and when Garland comes back, and DeAndre Hunter. It's an elite 5-some. I don't even know if that's a thing, but either way, I love their starting 5, love their head coach. They do have flexibility to make a trade as well, with tradable salaries like Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Lonzo Ball if needed, and those were my Eastern Conference standing predictions. All right, let's go over to the Western Conference. I think it's an easy 15 seed, the Utah Jazz. It's a loaded conference, and the Jazz are loaded with young talent. I'm so excited to watch Ace Bailey to start off the year. Hopefully he does start off the year. I know he got banged up in that Dallas Mavericks preseason game. Either way, he's gonna have a chance to shine in his rookie season, and there's so many guys I could list off that could break out for Utah this year. Isaiah Collier as a point guard, Bryce Sensabaugh as a shooter, Kyle Filipowski as a floor spacing 5, Walker Kessler as a rim protector, Taylor Hendricks as a 3 and D4, Deontay George as a combo guard, rookie Walter Clayton, who was one of the best players in college basketball last year. Cody Williams has to be better this year. You really can't go lower than what he did in his rookie season. And I didn't even mention a top 50 player in the league, Lauri Markkanen, who could definitely get traded this year. Jazz have so much talent. I like Will Hardy. I think they're okay being bad for one more year. Coming in at number 14, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think Grizzlies fans are probably happy to hear that just because the Grizzlies own Phoenix's first round pick. And I do think Phoenix's vibes will be better this year after the Kevin Durant trade and they bought out Bradley Beal. I think they'll be competitive, but I think over the course of the season, they're going to slide in a competitive Western Conference. They could trade away guys like Dylan Brooks, Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen at the trade deadline. I think it's going to be a seller's market. And if Devin Booker misses some time, this may be the worst offense in the NBA. I'm optimistic about Jalen Green in Phoenix under Jordan Knott. We'll see how the front court looks. It's exciting on paper, but Mark Williams has not been a great rim protector in his career, struggles to stay healthy. Kamon Maliwatch, I think, is going to be a great center in the league for a long time, but it may take us some time to get there. And who knows, maybe Oso Ighodaro emerges as the best big man from this team to start off the year. I think there's a lot of question marks in Phoenix. It's a tough conference. Have them here at number 14. So Memphis is coming in here at me for number 13. They just have a lot of injuries to start off the year. John Moran is week to week. I think he'll be fine, but Zach Edey is banged up. Brandon Clark is banged up. Jaren Jackson Jr. is banged up. And when you don't have that rim protection or that center depth certainty, things can go really bad real quick. Desmond Bane is now in Orlando. I think Jalen Wells is going to be great in year 2. I think G.G. Jackson is going to have a great year 3. And I'm really intrigued about Cedric Coward and Ty Jerome now in Memphis. But once again, it's a loaded conference. I don't think this team is as competitive, deep, and talented to finish as a top 8 seed in the West this year. I think they knew this when they traded away Desmond Bane. They got Phoenix's first. Memphis can have 2 top 10 picks in a loaded 26 class and then go all in again in 2027. And I think that's okay. So coming in at number 12, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I do think they're going to go over in their win total this year, which is around 30 to 31 projected wins. But I do think, like I said, in this tough conference, I promise I'll stop saying it, they're going to finish here number 12. They have a ton of talent like they did going into last year's season, but will they be able to put it together? Will there be able to have chemistry and continuity throughout the course of the year? I'm so excited to watch Zion fully healthy this year, but what if they are bad at the deadline and Zion is healthy? Would they pull the trigger on trading away Zion? They get Jordan Poole, which for financial reasons, don't love that in that contract in 2027, but I think he's going to be better than CJ McCollum in 2026. They're going to get DeJounte Murray back at some point in the second half of the season. They got better big man depth, but there's still some question marks in the big man depth. And can Trey Murphy take a leap? Can Herb Jones maybe take an offensive leap as well? Somebody's got to finish 12th. I have the Pelicans. So coming in at number 11, just missing out on the play-in tournament, I have the Sacramento Kings. Keegan Murray's going to miss a couple weeks with a hand injury. And this team just, I think, maybe has a higher floor than like New Orleans or Memphis in the West. But I also think a lower ceiling as well. This team has its big 3, Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. Maybe they pick up Russell Westbrook before the season starts. They bring in Dennis Schroeder as a point guard. You have Malik Monk, who can be traded this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. And they have some fun young players. I'm excited to watch Nick Clifford. I'm excited to watch Devin Carter. I'm going to be locked into those guys when I'm watching Kings games this season. I just think we're headed to a more likely path that they are a seller at the trade deadline rather than being a buyer. They own their first round pick. And I think if they can get an out this year, they should take it. So coming in at number 10, playing some play-in tournament basketball, probably the most meaningful basketball in Portland since 2021. It's obviously the Trailblazers. This team has impressed me a ton throughout preseason. The game looks like it's slowing down for Shaedon Sharpe. Danny Avdija looks like the same player he was last year in the second half. Donovan Clingan is going to be a rock-solid rim protector. I like the veteran addition of Drew Holiday. Don't like the contract, but I do think he will help them this year. And I think this team will be good, even with Scoot Henderson missing the first few weeks of the season with a hamstring injury. Didn't even mention Tumani Kamara, Jeremy Grant, and whatever you can get out of Hanson Yang this season. And I think the Blazers will be competitive enough to get that 10th seed. It came down between Portland, Sacramento, and New Orleans for that 10th seed spot. 2 of those 3 are going to be very disappointed this season. So coming in at number 9, the Dallas Mavericks. You could have Dallas at 9, you could have Dallas at 3, and I can hear a reason for both of those. I just think if Anthony Davis misses some time before Kyrie Irving comes back, this team is not going to be able to score the basketball. Teams are going to be able to blitz Cooper Flag on the perimeter. They're going to have some non-shooting lineups out there, and you're going to be relying on D'Angelo Russell to be your primary or secondary shot creator if Anthony Davis goes down in the first half, and Anthony Davis does have that track record. So I'm baking that in a little bit to this prediction. I'm being a little conservative with them here. I do think they have a high ceiling. They could be playing in the conference finals if AD stays healthy in the first half, Cooper Flag looks efficient out of the gate, and they are 10 games above 500 when they get Kyrie Irving back in February, and that could be one of the best trade deadline acquisitions out there, getting Kyrie Irving back healthy. I think they could finish above 500, but in the West, that could be the 9th seed. Coming in at number 8, I have the LA Lakers. LeBron James is going to miss the first few games of the year with sciatica, an injury I never heard of until he got it, and he's going to be 41 years old this season. I'm excited to watch Luka this year. I think he can get some MVP votes yet again, and Austin Reeves looks NBA ready from what I've seen in preseason play, but I don't love this team's depth compared to some of the other Western Conference teams around them. I think it's very risky to be so reliant on a 40-year-old when you have title aspirations. I wonder if that's the last time I'll say the word aspiration in this video. The Lakers are good, but so are 7 other teams in the West. Coming in at number 7, I have the San Antonio Spurs. I'm just all in on Wemby this year, and me being all in on Wemby still only has them as the 7th seed because once again, this conference is freaking stacked. It is so good, and I'm so excited to watch Dylan Harper, man. He has been so impressive throughout the preseason. We haven't even seen De'Aaron Fox yet, as he may miss the start of the year, but you have the Area 51 connection with Castle and Wemby. Luke Cornett looks like a huge pickup throughout preseason so far as a great big man depth piece behind Wemby with Kelly Olynyk. Carter Bryant is going to be a great perimeter defender this year. Champagnie, Lindy Waters may give them some underrated shooting. You have Harrison Barnes and Jeremy Shohan potentially as stretch fours. And I haven't even mentioned Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson. I like the Spurs this year to be a top-end playing tournament team, maybe a low-end playoff team in the top 6. But to kick off the top 6, at number 6, I have the Golden State Warriors. I think there's going to be a fun lineup out there of Curry at the 1, Pods at the 2, Jimmy 3, Draymond 4, Horford 5. All 5 can shoot the basketball for the most part. All of them can put the ball on the ground, dribble, attack the rim, and I think Pods is a big X factor for the Warriors this season. I think he's going to be more of an impact player than Jonathan Kuminga, who most likely is going to get traded this year. So they have this $22.5 million trade piece. DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton, Seth Curry are going to be fine enough role players for this squad. And Al Horford is just going to prove to be a massive pickup for the Warriors this past offseason. They were great in the second half after getting Jimmy last year. I think they'll be top 6 this year. They just missed out on the top 6 last year. So coming in at number 5, I have the LA Clippers. Who knows what this team is going to pull off this year? Should I say the word aspiration again? Well, it is going to be a factor. What's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard, if anything's going to happen? They're hosting the All-Star game. They've also been an exciting preseason watch, even though Bradley Beal hasn't played yet. But they got Brook Lopez as a backup 5, better what they had last year, behind one of the best centers in the game, Ivica Zubac. John Collins could be a good lob threat around the rim and a floor spacing 5. And you bring in Bradley Beal, who should be just as good as what Norman Powell was for you last year. You won 50 games last year with Kawhi Leonard only playing 37. I think James Harden, Chris Paul have good enough years left in the tank for them. They have a tradable contract in Bogdan Bogdanovic. Derrick Jones Jr. is an underrated player in this league. I think they're a top 6 seed. Have them here at number 5. Coming in at number 4, the Houston Rockets. So they were the 2 seed last year. I had them dropping to the 4 seed this year, but I think the gap between 2 and 4 is still going to be very close. And yes, before the Fred VanVleet injury, I would have had them at number 3. So I did drop them a seed right there. I am so hyped about Alperen Şengün this year. Eurobasket preseason has shown that we could see a leap from Şengün in 2026. I could say for certainty that Amen Thompson is going to take a leap this year. They have one of the greatest scoring players in NBA history as their number 1 now in Kevin Durant. And they're just going to be just an elite defensive team. I worry about the floor spacing though. Are they going to have to rely a ton on Dorian Finney-Smith, Jabari Smith Jr., or Reed Shepherd, who might be their starting point guard at times this season? And I wonder how they're going to look without Fred VanVleet in 2026, but I still have them here at number 4. Because at number 3, maybe the most respect I've given this team all offseason, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think there's a chance Anthony Edwards could be your scoring champion this year. They are going to feel the loss of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but they have high expectations for Terrence Shannon Jr. I don't have high expectations for Rob Dillingham, unfortunately, but hey, whatever they can give him, you'll take it. And Jaden McDaniels, I think, could be a little bit better offensively this year. You still have Gobert, Naz Reid, and Randall. Dante DiVincenzo in the mix. And last year, this was like a newish team with them trading Cat so late in the offseason, and they were still one of the best teams in the Western Conference. They were in the conference finals. This year, I think they're going to be a little bit more built for the regular season, as long as they don't put too many eggs in the Mike Conley basket. And at number 2, I have the Denver Nuggets. There is a chance Denver can be the 1 seed this year, 100%. It may take some time to be like, okay, we have Cam Johnson in the mix, not Michael Porter Jr., but this team is absolutely loaded. They were great last year. They took the Thunder to Game 7. They had Cam Johnson from MPJ. They're getting De'Ron Holmes fully healthy. They bring in Valanciunas for Dario Saric, who was not playing for them in meaningful moments last year. And how about bringing in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown? This team basically had like 5 playable guys in round number 2 against the Thunder. They may have 11 at one point. I think Jamal Murray could be an all-star this year. Aaron Gordon is still a beast of a power forward, and Christian Brown or Julian Strawther could take another leap in 2026. So yeah, I did it again. I hate it because it's probably not going to happen. I have both 1 seeds repeating in each conference. So at number 1 in the West, I have the Thunder. There's two ways you can go about the Thunder. You know what? They got their title. They may be a little bit less hungry. They could regress a couple games, or this team could set the record for most regular season wins in NBA history. Could they win 6 more this season? Could they go 74-8? I mean, they won 68 games last year with Chet missing a ton of time, Caruso missing a ton of time, Hartenstein missed a decent amount of time as well. And all these guys are still young in their prime, only getting better and better. Shea is your reigning MVP. He could go back to back. J-Dub is continuing to improve as maybe a top 20 player in the league this season, and they have flexibility to make a trade if they wanted to. I do have the Thunder going back to back like Cleveland as the 1 seeds. All right, so in years past, I haven't predicted playoff series, and this could all change, but I'm going to quickly try to predict every single playoff series. Round number 1 in the Western Conference, it'd be the 1-seeded Thunder against the 8-seeded LA Lakers. Tough matchup for the Lakers. I'm taking the Thunder here. Denver versus San Antonio, a rematch of 2019. I'm taking Jokic over Wemby, but Wemby in the playoffs is going to be cinema if it happens. 3-seeded Minnesota versus 6-seeded Golden State. I have an upset here. Sorry, Wolves fans. Golden State lost to Minnesota last year, but Steph got hurt. I think it changes this year. And the Clippers versus the Rockets, 5 versus 4. I am taking the upset here, and I do have the Clippers beating the Rockets. In the East, it's the 1-seeded Cavs versus the 8-seeded Raptors. It's the Cavs. 2-seeded Magic over the 7-seeded Heat, a battle of Florida. 3-seeded Knicks over 6-seeded Bucks. I mean, this series is going to be talked about. Could Giannis go to the Knicks if the Knicks beat him? And I do have the Knicks beating them. And then I do have the 5-seeded Hawks beating the Detroit Pistons in a very competitive, most likely 7-game series if it happened. All right, so round number 2, 1-seeded Thunder, 5-seeded Clippers. We thought it could happen last year, and it's as good as we could expect. It goes to 6 or 7, but I got the Thunder. 2-seeded Denver beating the 6-seeded Golden State Warriors, but man, Jokic, Curry, what each of them can provide in different ways, that would be so much fun to watch. The Cavs and the Hawks are matching up. One of these teams is going to the conference finals, and it is Cleveland. And I do have the 3-seeded Knicks beating the inexperienced Orlando Magic here in a hard-fought series. I think Detroit in 2025 prepares the Knicks for this matchup in 2026. And then conference finals, I do have Denver beating Oklahoma City. I don't know if it's me not trying to be repetitive here and take the Oklahoma City Thunder, who could definitely go back-to-back. They're probably the best suited team to go back-to-back since the 2018 Warriors. But Denver almost beat them in 7 last year. Gordon gets hurt in game number 6. Like I said, they have like 5 playable guys. I think the depth is going to propel Jokic and the Nuggets to dethrone the reigning champions. Nobody thought Minnesota was beating Denver in 2024 or the Knicks beating the Celtics in 2025. And yeah, we have the Knicks versus the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell finally goes to a conference finals, but it ends there. I have the Knicks going to the NBA finals to take on the Denver Nuggets. And as much as I will be upset if this happens, I'll be so happy they went to the finals, but I do have the Denver Nuggets beating the New York Knicks. Jokic gets his 2nd ring. All right, now let's head over to the award predictions here. I will give my pick as well as some runner-up. My MVP, Nikola Jokic. I do think their wins will be close enough with the Thunder this year, where if Jokic puts up, you know what, a 30-point triple-double again, he will end up getting his 4th MVP award. And I have Shea as a runner-up. Rookie of the Year, it's going to be a fun race. I don't think Dylan Harper is going to be in the mix because of the guards in San Antonio. I'm still going with Cooper Flagg winning it, with Ace Bailey being the runner-up, but Trey Johnson and maybe a sneaky pick of Yegor Dorman could be in the mix. Depoy, I'm going chalk here. I'm going Wemby. He was going to win it last year if he didn't have the blood clot. And I have Bam Adebayo having a bounce back year, finishing runner-up in Depoy. 6th man of the year, I'm going with Josh Hart. Now, this could be negated if Mike Brown starts Josh Hart. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be the spark plug for the Knicks off the bench. He wins this award. And I have Grady Dick finishing runner-up in this award as well. But who knows? Toronto may start him at one point this year. Most improved player, I'm going with year 3, Amen Thompson. I think with Fred VanVleet out for the year, Amen Thompson is going to score more and assist more this season. He may also finish on all defensive first team and average 16 plus points per game. I think he's going to win the award, with Shaedon Sharpe finishing runner-up. I think we're going to see a breakout year from Sharpe in Portland. Coach of the Year, I'm going with my 2-seeded Orlando Magic, Jamal Mosley. He almost won this award a couple years ago. And Coach of the Year is a big narrative award, so they go from essentially the 7th seed to the 2 seed. And my runner-up is actually going to be David Adelman of the Denver Nuggets. And my executive of the year, I'm going to go with Ben Tenzer, the main decision maker over in Denver, and Ansi Salah, the main decision maker in Atlanta, being runner-up. Clutch player of the year, Brunson won it last year. These guys probably not going back-to-back, so I'm going to go with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander winning this award. And for my NBA Cup winner, why not? Let's predict this. I'm going with the Orlando Magic winning this, with Paolo Banchero winning NBA Cup MVP. Now let's go over to the individual team awards here. We're going to start with All NBA First Team, and it's an All International First Team as well. No Americans here. Shea getting on this, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, and Wemby as my All NBA First Team. All NBA Second Team, it's All American. Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, Donovan Mitchell, and Kevin Durant. And my All-NBA third team, we have some duplicates here from some teams. I have Jalen Williams of the Thunder, Evan Mobley of the Cavs, Alperen Sengun of the Rockets. So those 3 teams getting 2 guys here on the All-NBA teams. And I also have Steph Curry and Cade Cunningham getting on this. There's always going to be a ton of All-NBA honorable mentions, but some of this will thin out with the 65 game threshold. All defensive first team, I have Wemby, my Depoy, Bam Adebayo, my runner-up, Amen Thompson, Anthony Davis, and Evan Mobley. 4 bigs and 1 guard in a men. My all defensive second team, I have Chet Holmgren of the OKC Thunder, Asar Thompson, the brother of Amen, Donovan Clingan getting on all defensive second team. There's usually a first timer every year. Draymond Green and Dyson Daniels. Jalen Suggs was a tough honorable mention. My all rookie first team, a bunch of the guys I mentioned earlier: Cooper Flagg, Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, and Yegor Dorman. I ended up going with Dylan Harper, also getting on all rookie first team. And my all rookie second team, we have Con Knipple, Walter Clayton, Neek Clifford, Danny Wolf for the Brooklyn Nets. These Nets rookies could have a ton of opportunities, and VJ Edgecombe with the 76ers. And if I had to give some like Jalen Wells type second round pick to make an all-rookie team this year, I'll give some shout outs to Talion Peter in Indiana or Tyrese Proctor in Cleveland. And then here's what I do every single year: 5 players that I think will get traded this year. First one, an obvious one, Jonathan Kuminga. It seems like when he agreed with that 1+1, he was going to get traded in January. He's been more passive and more of a playmaker in preseason so far, but we'll see what ends up happening in the first half of the year. I do think Golden State is going to try to upgrade this spot and trade Kuminga this season. I think Dylan Brooks is going to get moved as well. I believe it's going to be a seller's market, and Phoenix should definitely try to get any type of draft capital it can for Dylan Brooks. They need another first. Kobe White also making this as well. Chicago could definitely keep Kobe White. Maybe he gets extended at one point this season as well, but if they were smart, they should capitalize on Kobe White's value and trade him at the deadline. I have a sneaky one that I like to throw in every single year: Derek White of the Boston Celtics. This is the scenario where Boston is maybe 10 plus games under 500 at the deadline. Some team comes in with a godfather offer for Derek White, who could definitely take a team from like the middle of their conference or a tier 2 team to a tier 1 team and can help them win an NBA Finals. He'll fit on any single team seamlessly. And the last one is Lauri Markkanen. It is going to be tough to trade his salary mid-season. I almost went with DeMar DeRozan here, but I do feel like we're on a path for Markkanen, as long as he performs, to get traded out of Utah in February. And then 5 coaches that I think could be on the hot seat or let go at the end of the season. Last year, we only saw 2 head coaches get let go: Mike Budenholzer in Phoenix and Tom Thibodeau in New York. But I guess shockingly, mid-season, we saw 3 guys get fired: Mike Brown, Mike Malone, and Taylor Jenkins. And Pop stepped down, so Mitch Johnson came into the mix. So the first one is Brian Keefe of the Washington Wizards. I do feel like he's more suited to be an assistant, and this is going to end up happening at the end of the year. I think Wizards fans are already done with Brian Keefe. I have Willie Green here of the New Orleans Pelicans. If I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, I think they end that Willie Green era. I have Doc Rivers of the Milwaukee Bucks. They may completely change their identity at the end of 2026, not just player-wise, but coach-wise. I have Doko Rajakovic as well. If the Toronto Raptors do not make the playoffs, they're very expensive. MLSE, the corporation, may come down and say, why didn't we make the playoffs? We have to change something. And the last one, I'm going to go with Nick Nurse of the Philadelphia 76ers. I thought there was a chance he was going to get fired at the end of the 2025 season. If they don't make the playoffs as well, Josh Harris may come in, clear house, Daryl Morey gone, Nick Nurse gone. So that is going to be it for me. Hope you guys did enjoy my 2026 season predictions. I just gave you guys so many predictions today, from standings to all rookie teams. So I'm sure there's something you agree with or disagree with. So let me know down below. Maybe drop me some of your predictions, either it's award or playoffs. Let me know. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, because at the end of the season, we're going to come back and react to this like we always do and see if I was right or wrong. All my social links are in the description: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.